What's up, people? Jeez, Eric Jones talks to you. I should have put my link to my Shane TV and cut shit in here. Just need to talk to y'all real quick. This is Ms. On in. What up, Darren? This is where I got invited this morning while I was smoking my blunt on the porch. I don't buy bull. What's up, Tulsa and my nigga Wizax? You say you seen Marshall, he was that little Ty Boho. Yo, I hope Pharaoh don't take offense to that. I'll just be fucking around when I say Ty Boho. I still take offense to you being a fraud though, cause I fucked with you, little new, and I talked to you, nigga. It'd be something if I was a nigga that never spoke to you before, never nothing, none of that shit. Like, nigga, you called my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, through Kev Gills, you called my phone. I ain't seek you out or none of that shit. And then you turn around, you do the same shit these niggas doing, man. You fucking trash for that, G. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? This is what I've been through in my glorious run through YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's been like a year and a half, something like that, when I really started actually going in on these niggas. Like I said, when I first made my page, it was just going at systemic racism. He said, I know. I said, that's what I said. I don't buy bull. I said he could fight in the little nigga division. What's up, Buggy? He could fight in the little nigga division. Long as he stay in the little nigga division, he be all right, y'all. You know what I mean? Tear your ankles up. Exactly. That nigga, he be going straight knee and crotch. He be going for my crotch. I gotta wear a cup so I don't have to worry about getting punched in my balls. Cause that's all he gonna go for, cause that's all he could hit. So I put one of these size 13s in his chest and he go flying backwards. Like stupid ass Root think. Like Root, man, I will out everything Root, man. I would outrun Root. I would outwork Root. But we gonna get on him on another day, cause I seen that nigga at work about to get fired. That shit is crazy, Root. You gonna get fired over YouTube. Shout out to I Expose. So the reason why I brought y'all in here this morning real quick was because of what just happened to me. Now, for those who just came in, I showed this flyer real quick. I'm gonna show it again. Oh, Jehovah's Witness flyer. Hold on, I gotta put my hand inside so I can actually hold it. All right. Some people from the hall was walking around and they having like some big old event or whatever, and you know, invited to a convention of Yahweh's witnesses. So it was cool. Like, I'm never rude to those people. You know what I mean? I never challenge people just because I don't subscribe or adhere to what they do. As long as you're pleasant, I look at that as the overarching goal of religion anyway, which is to get people to be a certain way. You know what I'm saying? To conduct themselves a certain way, not to constantly be going to that place every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that that's what it's for. I think that all religion is like school. Eventually, you're supposed to graduate from school. You're not supposed to go to high school, nigga, for, 13 years or 40 years. Like, I've been going to my church for 30 years. Like, and you still got to ask your pastor questions about shit. Like, you should know the Bible in and out, or the Quran, or the whatever. So, like, that's just how I feel personally about that. But I'm never rude to people. Like, when people come through, is, hey, it's what it is. Like, how you doing, sister? Like, at the end of the day, she's still a sister to me. So that's how I look at you. And first, before I have a chance to look at you any other way. But she was cool, whatever. She had her grandson with her, as a matter of fact. And he was kind of standing off to the back while she was talking. And she was standing pretty close to me because she handed me a flyer. So once she handed me the flyer, the Jehovah's Witness flyer, I took it, I accepted it. And, he said twice, today for 30 years. So it's like, it's cool, man. Like I said, I don't mind talking because we always end up talking about everything else. And it's just the type of person I am. Because if she asks me how was I doing, I generally respond by saying the way I always respond, by saying so far so good. Because I take it by the moment. I learned a long time ago that the gods will bless you in the morning and curse you in the afternoon, or curse you in the morning and bless you in the afternoon. So as you heard, I did say gods, plural. But that's another conversation for another day. But anyway, that's kind of how I roll with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I take life by the moment, G. Like, whatever happens right now, I'm not expecting it to be this smooth in an hour. You know what I'm saying? If it is, wonderful. What up, Van Digi? So if it is, wonderful, Like, life has too many variables, man, for anything to be confined in anything. Any one book, any one tablet, any one scroll, anyone, like, all that shit. Like, you got the scroll and all others need to bow. Like, I don't do none of that weird shit. So, because it just makes no sense. Like, logically, that just makes no fucking sense. So, we were talking and she was telling me how she had a toothache or whatever. I hope she felt better. And so we just began talking about Boston, you know what I'm saying? And she was telling me how long she been here, and I was telling her, wow, when you, like, the way you did it was opposite of me. She said she's from Mississippi or Alabama, I think it's Alabama. And she was like, when she left Alabama, she was like 12 years old, and I was like, wow, when I left Boston, I was like 13, 14, you know what I'm saying? I was young. So, and came down south, you know what I'm saying? But we was just talking about that or whatever. And her grandson was with her. And that's why the screenshot is of my tattoo. If y'all saw the screenshot, like, if you didn't know, what up, Zilla? If you didn't know that I had a swastika that is on my arm, you know what I'm saying? And it also has the dots and then for Shakti, and it does also says Shakti on it, so he was standing here the whole time, and he was standoffish, but I think he was more standoffish because of my tattoo and him not being familiar with what it was. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, we and her was just still talking. We talked, she stood here, y'all, for like a good 11 minutes. And that's a long time to just be standing somewhere talking to somebody you just met. So because we were just talking. And so anyway, her daughter had came back past, and her daughter is like almost 50 years old, she said. And she looked like she was almost 50. That's why I said black people. All right, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, your daughter's almost 50 and you look like you 50. But anyway, we were just talking, and the daughter came by, and when she shook my hand and he came to shake my hand, it was all limp and flimsy. So me and her was laughing, and I took the moment to tell him, like, first off, like, firm your arm up, G. Like, you in front of your grandmother. Why you all soft and weak in front of your grandmother? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm a strange man. Like, you should be on guard. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like 13. So I was like, you should be standing a little firmer anyway. And she started laughing, and he started smiling or whatever. So then he did it again, and he shook my hand like a dude, like a man. You know what I'm saying? Standing straight for him. And I make sure I told him, like, yo, when you looking at people, man, like, give them the courtesy and the respect of, looking them in their eye until they, don't deserve it anymore. So then you can look at them however and do them however, you know what I'm saying, when you found out they're a clown, basically. But anyway, it was like the tattoo was what was getting them, And so it's like sparking explaining it, what it really means, like Shakti and the tattoo, like I get more attention from it up here than I did when I was down south. And that's crazy to me. That's real crazy to me. Like I get way more attention from this tattoo being home, being in Boston, than I did when I was down south, like in Virginia, when I was living in Virginia. So it's like is weird, but it literally means to be well. That's all it means. Like it literally means to be prosperous, to be auspicious. You know what I mean? Like Shakti literally is the goddess of auspice. Like if you look it up, that's what you'll find more than likely. Now it's a lot of deeper meanings to it that can go into it, but ultimately, what I'm saying, Shakti literally means to be auspicious, to be prosperous, to be well. So a lot of times people have seen this tattoo, but they've never seen it in this form. Like I seen a tattoo in this form on a dude. He was like one of those Hindustan dudes, and he had it, and it was just a series of dots. He had 4 dots. You know what I'm saying? But the way the dots was positioned with the curved line on his hand, I knew exactly what it was. It was Shakti. It was the same tattoo. It was the same tattoo. So, and I'm gonna speak on the so-called Jews in a second. I talked about it lightly before, but now that we're talking about it now, I'm going to speak on it again. But anyway, you can also see the symbol, and if you've ever seen this woman sitting, you know what I'm saying, like generally in like a Hindustan, or what I mean by that, like an Indian type, what they call Eastern Indian type store or whatever, you will see a picture somewhere in that fucking store, yo, and somewhere in that store is going to say, you're going to see this picture. It's not going to say anything. It's going to be this woman with these arms. She's going to have like 4 arms going this way. And 2 arms going, one going this way, one going that way, one going this way, one going that way. It's Shakti. It's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? It's the same tattoo. So most people don't really realize that. They just think that it's, some neo-Nazi shit. And I keep telling them, first off, them people never invented or created anything. You know what I'm saying? So that's just, get that out, point blank, period. See what I mean? So like but people, they don't understand that shit. Like the very first thing they attach it to is some neo-Nazi shit. And it was only one person up here that I met so far that knew immediately that it wasn't no neo-Nazi tattoo, and it was a fucking white guy I was working with who looked like a neo-Nazi type guy. He had all these tattoos, bald head, rode a motorcycle, all that shit, and he was the only one who automatically knew that. He's like, no, that's some Indian symbol or some Hindu symbol or whatever. He was like, that's not Hitler swastika. Immediately knew that. That's the only person. Crazy. But I hope that I sparked the young man, like, not to say that I want him to go against what his grandmother and his parents are teaching him or taking him to Hall. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all good. What up, Cole? You could take him to Hall and all of that. I'm just saying, like, to have another thought process is never an evil thing, because it wouldn't be possible for you to have it if it was so evil. It wouldn't have been so natural for you to always have it if it was so evil. Like, that makes no sense to me, dog. Like, that really doesn't. So I hope that I sparked him today. I hope that he was sparked, and I hope that he gets something out of it, to learn something different. I'm sure he didn't know that before. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it is all. It's like everything, if you really, that's what got me, man. Like, I had to realize that everything that I know is I thought I knew, is what somebody handed me. Even the stuff that I was thinking about was shit that was handed to me. That wasn't nothing that I was coming up with these thoughts. Like, now, the things that I think about, like, but then, like, nah, it was like, your dog, all you doing is being handed some shit, and that is that, yo. You being handed some shit, and you're either going to accept it or you're going to be critical of it, which is going to take you on a whole nother path of understanding and learning. And that's what happened. That's what happened to me. I was critical of it, and it took me on a whole nother path of understanding and learning. What up, Leonard? So I hope I actually, spark somebody to think today, because there were a lot of people along the way in my life that I met that sparked me to think. A whole lot. But in closing, I wanted to also speak on this this more Mason stuff some more. When you got people, I just dropped a video. It should have been uploaded by now. And it's about Moors and Masonry. And I really I never really went in on that, you know what I'm saying? And I never really went on it, and I'm planning on doing it starting kind of right now. Like, it's kind of getting out of hand because this stupid little Baptist Moor is still doing this shit, still running around proclaiming and professing loudly in everybody's chats and comment sections and anywhere that he could be seen and heard, you know what I'm saying, except on his live streams, he can't be seen and heard. But he goes around to everybody's chats and shit. That's where he gets all his attention from. He's a chat monger. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just goes around to all people's chats and just battles with them. That's how people know who he is. To the degree they know who he is. So anyway, he keeps on with this notion of Masons and this, that, and the third. First off, Masons are builders. Okay? Even the so-called and or alleged evil Masonry, even them, they are builders. They call themselves the builders of society. They make society run. They are society. They control everything. And turned it to the right. Exactly. That's all they did. Oh, and before I go on to this more thing, I meant to touch on that tattoo that I not got into it because I don't get into it, but someone got offended. It was this fucking fat Jewish lady at the gym, and I'm basically done and about to leave, and she's on her little treadmill or whatever, and this nigga has the fucking nerve to start asking me about my tattoo, and most people who ask me about it genuinely want to know until I look at your face and your demeanor, until I feel that, oh, you're kind of offended by it. And if you're a European of any kind of sort and you call yourself offended by my tattoo, you're going to have a big issue with me. So anyway, she asked me about it. I told her. And when I told her, she's like, oh, like one of those, like a oh. And what I had to explain was like, yo, you're like, people's ignorance to certain signs and symbols is kind of not really my responsibility, and for someone to be offended, if that's the case, I should be offended by every European that I see. And what gets me about these people like her who call themselves Jews, like I don't understand how that is still possible in 2018 for these people, these white people, to keep getting away with calling themselves Jews. Like, dog, you are an Ashkenazi fucking German who converted. You are a descendant of a German. You're a German, dog. The same people who did that shit to you, who burned you in tanks, burned you, supposedly gassed you in all these canisters, all these people who did that shit to you, yo, those were your people who did that shit to you. That's why all y'all look just alike. Because those were your people who did that shit to you, because you're a fucking German. And if you keep running your mouth, I'm going to do a video on why they really did that shit to you. See, people don't want to talk about why they really did that shit to the Jews, why their own people had so much disdain for them, and why they did that shit to them. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about how how the Moors had them motherfuckers running inside of Germany, snatching, is not a race. It's not a race. Them like them motherfuckers converted to that shit when they were surrounded by armies on three sides. That's the side they picked, nigga. They picked them Hebrews. They picked Israelites, nigga, which wasn't them. They were not Israelites because the Israelites did not look like them. Because you're white. The fuck? Care that you call yourself a Jew, but let's focus on that. The reason why the motherfuckers hated you and the reason why the Germans had so much historical disdain for you and you being their own people. As far as I'm concerned, Leonard, I agree with that wholeheartedly. See, the reason why the Germans still had animosity towards those people who call themselves Jews for eons and eons is because them motherfuckers was the ones that the Moors civilized first. When the Moors was the ones going around because they was the ones sailing every fucking where. So they were the ones going to these islands, going to these countries like what we call a country now because Europe's not a country, but we're gonna play that game. Going to these countries like Europe and going there and civilizing certain groups of these people. Now, to be honest, nigga, the Moors was not doing this shit for no benevolent reason. You know what I'm saying? Like they were doing that shit to capitalize, meaning they were training these monkeys. And that's just how they looked at it. Just what I just said to you, training these monkeys, that's how they looked at it. They was training them monkeys. They was training them monkeys to do their dirty work. So when the Moors was going up into Europe, taking Europeans out of there, most of the women looked like, if you go to this video called How People Really Look with UV Rays, I put it up one time before, I'm gonna fucking record it and repost it again. And you can see how these people really look to us without the matrix over our eyes. So most of them really looked like that. They had all these freckles all over their face. They had fucking long ass vampire looking teeth, stringy ass hair that looked like it was falling out, all that bullshit like that. All right. This is how they generally looked. But every now and again, you know what I'm saying, one of them Europeans would produce a Scarlett Johansson looking chick. You know what I'm saying? Or some decent looking European woman that you would be like, she's not ugly, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. So what the Moors used to do, these niggas used to sail all over the fucking place to where all these people was, snatching up bitches, especially in Europe. They used to run over there and snatch up them fucking white bitches at their leisure. The ones that looked good. But to do that, they had to do what? They had to actually dock the ship, you know what I'm saying? Get in boats, go up there, get their little army together, get their little muskets and rifles. Yes, I said rifles, guns, and shit together, you know what I'm saying? And start going up through the fucking woods to snatch these niggas. They had to actually do the work. So what they did, they decided to fucking take the group of white people that we now call Jews. Okay, they took these fucking people and started training them. They started giving them armor, weapons, horses, tents, teaching them how to build, how to drink water, cook their food properly, all that right shit, all that shit. They started giving them religion, handing them certain little ways to which we now call religion, but handing them ways of life to try to civilize them. This is what, to a degree, this is what the Moors was doing. Now, like I said, they wasn't doing this shit for no benevolent reason. They was doing this shit. So now when they sail back over here, they got a trained group of fucking mercenaries that all they got to do is walk up to these motherfuckers and give them a list of how many women they want and how many male slaves they want. And they want the women to look a certain way, blah, 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 blah. The male slaves, it didn't even matter because the white men was just coming to fight in their armies and to be slaves in their fucking fields until they died. So the Moors was training a group of white people that they was not doing that to them, but just to all the other ones. So that's what they trained the Jews to do. And what did the Jews do? The Jews started doing the things that the Moors would do. All they would get handed. Now the Moor, all he had to do, it didn't have to be a whole little platoon of Moors, nigga, a century of Moors, nigga, 100 Moors coming through with rifles and fucking swords and shit. It didn't have to be that no more. All they needed to do was send a boat with 2 or 3 Moors and a goddamn list. and they were handed to these motherfuckers because they taught them how to read and what reading was and all that shit. And then they would fucking send them motherfuckers into the woods, and the commander, the Jewish commander, the commander Jew would send his commander Jew general that he learned what a general was from a Moor, and so he got one and whatever. They know what rank was, and he taught them that shit. He would send them motherfuckers in there, and they be gone for a month or so. They come back and they'll have the order complete. That's how that shit went. So that shit went on for hundreds, thousands years, dog. That shit went on in Europe. That shit went on in Europe. So that's why them fucking people cannot stand the Jews to this day. It's like I don't know if from y'all who may not heard of it. Well, you heard of it. You know what it is. Like certain Muslims cannot stand certain Muslims, meaning Sunni Muslims cannot stand Shia Muslims. And they're the same fucking people to a degree, but they just can't stand each other. Like you have certain Italians that are from Sicily don't fuck with Italians who are from Napolitan. You know what I'm saying? Like they just don't rock with them niggas, and they from the same place, the same people. They don't fuck with them. You know why? Because every time you find out shit like that, when you trace it back, it's a real old rift. It's a real old rift. It's an old rift. And that rift is still there. That cut is still there. That wound is still there. Like you wonder around the Palestinians is keep saying these people do not belong here, because they don't, nigga. First off, they know you don't belong there because you're white. That's the telltale giveaway sign, nigga. That you're white. You don't belong here. You couldn't possibly be the Hebrew Israelites, nigga. You couldn't possibly be those people. That's the number one tail giveaway sign. Like, bitch, you get the fuck out of here. You're white. What are you talking about? You're original. You're a Jew. You're Israel. Like, really, nigga? You're German, G. You're German, dog. Like I thought that was already that's some shit, nigga. Like I literally learned in my teenage years. Like, so I thought everybody knew that by now, especially in the social media age. These people are still walking around calling themselves a motherfucking, come on, dog. Stop it, man. But anyway, going back to Masonry and Moors now. All right. Masonry and Moors. Like I said, Masons are builders. Moors are builders. If you talking to the story of Hiram Abiff, which I'm going to do a video on that tonight. We're going to do a whole live stream on that. That is a Moorish story, G. That's a Moorish story. The whole story of a certain original brother being basically being unconscious, being asleep in his own land and not realizing and then waking up sort of and not realizing he's in his own land and being controlled by all that shit, dog, is a Moorish tale. So for any nigga like Root to say that a Mason is evil, nigga, you saying the Moors is evil. Because the Moors are the Masons. The Moors are the ones who handed them that shit. All that shit that they wear with the fucking Shriner fezzes and all, because that's all it is. All that shit comes from the Moors, dog. All the swords and the Muslim and all that shit came from the Moors, G. Yeah, because they wicked, man. But you got to understand one thing, too, with that, Cole. They was taught that wickedness by the Moors. The Moors was not teaching them people how to be benevolent. The Moors was raising basically like a Spartan-type warrior race army. They were very vicious and cruel to one another. That's why I said the other Germans, like, I'm not gonna say that shit as far as I'm endorsing it. I'm just saying, like the Germans and Hitler and them, what they did to them niggas, like you'll have some groups of people who feel that they had it coming. Cause like, nigga, your people was extra ruthless to them, which is your own people. But y'all separated yourselves because the Moors gave y'all gold and tents and food and shit like that to do their bidding. And that's a story that, like I said, I thought that would have been out by now. I learned that shit a long time ago. Like, yo, the Moors had them niggas doing their bidding, G. That's why I said the science, when the Europeans started using the science in a negative way, you could say that he has no choice but to use it in a negative way because he's degenerate. Okay, that's one way to put it. But you got to realize some of the niggas that was teaching these niggas this shit was teaching it to them for non-profitable reasons for the planet, meaning they were teaching them that shit for a personal gain, which means they weren't teaching them how to be benevolent all the time. That wasn't what they were teaching them. They were teaching them how to be ruthless and merciless and obedient. So if you look at white people right now, what do they try to exact on us? They're ruthless, they're merciless, and they want you and demand you to be what? Submissive and or obedient. Because that's how the Moors taught them. That's why I said, man, like people always play smart guy on YouTube. Like if I actually played smart guy, like I would crush you niggas. Because first off, you niggas is telling the story from some fairy tale perspective. Like one day there were the Moors and we were all living in tranquility, and no, it wasn't, nigga. That wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. And that's why I said they should have left them in them caves, nigga. Like it wasn't even, you can't even blame all black people for that. But what I'm saying to you, you can't even blame all Moors for that. But what I'm saying is you could blame the Moors because they was the ones doing that shit. They was the ones, wasn't nobody from fucking the going around just civilizing Europeans everywhere. Well, the niggas wasn't doing that shit, yo. First of all, them motherfuckers wasn't even allowed to be around people. That's how they ended up in caves and shit, because they wasn't even allowed to be around people. Unless somebody had one as a pet or a slave or some shit like that. You know what, yo, people who are in the know exactly what I'm talking about. Like if you just now hearing this information, well, I guess you got some stuff you can start looking up now. But I'm just telling you, dog, like, yeah, them motherfuckers was pets and shit. Like, if you look at the movie, what's that movie, man? Planet of the Apes, the one with Marky Wahlberg, not the new shit they did, but the one with Marky Wahlberg. Oh, kind of like Michael Jackson, like how Michael Jackson got a monkey as a pet. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine a monkey not looking like that. Just imagine a monkey looking like, you know what I'm saying, Cyndi Lauper or somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know what I'm saying? Shit's crazy. Shit's crazy. So it's like the Moors is the ones who, like, if you look at, they'll tell you that, man. That's why I said I don't know what Moors this nigga been around and building with, but a lot of Moors will openly agree and tell you that shit, dog. Like, yo, yeah, we was the ones who was teaching these motherfuckers how to be wicked because we didn't, them being benevolent wasn't of use to us. You know what I'm saying? They was just used in wars and shit, man. Them niggas wasn't gonna be sitting on no heads of state and none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was never gonna take place, G. Them niggas sitting on no head, being a ruler of a country or a ruler of anything. Like, nigga, please. So the Moors are the ones who taught them how to be ruthless like that. Everything that we, you know, this whole society that we live in that is a European ran society completely, yeah, this is what the Moors handed to them motherfuckers on them beaches of Europe. On them shores of Europe, when they was taking them out of the woods and made camps near the shores, you know what I'm saying, just in case the motherfuckers got smart and revolted or whatever, the Moors would be close to their boats and they could sail back to the ships, and then the ships could sail closer and then just shoot cannons at them niggas and blow all of them away. This is real talk I'm telling you right here. Like real, as far as I know, real factual history. This is how the Moors was getting down, G. Like all them stories that you hear about pirates and how ruthless the pirates was, just take away that white captain with no hand and no foot, you know what I'm saying, with that wooden leg and a hook, higher, nigga, please, nigga, all them shits was niggas, G. And they was Moors, and they was sailing around the world, just fucking shit up, yo. Some of them, not even some of them, a lot of them. A lot of them. Like, for real, if you keep it 100% real, you know what I'm saying? When you hear a lot of Moors say now, you're fallen humanity, and we've been like, nigga, that's what the Moors was about. What I read about our ancestors when we were Moors, or some of our ancestors were Moors, yo, them niggas was ruthless, and them niggas was out for paper, G. Them niggas was out for gold. That's it. But at the same time, they still had morals, you know what I'm saying? Like, they still weren't, the way Europeans are. Like, they wasn't gonna purposely poison the water and stupid shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not gonna purposely fuck up the air. They weren't, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I said that the overall debauchery that you get from Europeans, that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Moors wasn't doing shit like that. They wasn't hunting the animals for sport. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, they knew what it meant for a certain amount of animals to be killed and a certain amount to be born, like everybody else on the planet. They understood these things. They understood these things. And so they rocked with it. But you got certain people, man, who talk this stupid shit, man. These little Baptist ass niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? Like little stupid niggas, man, calling themselves Moors, man. You ain't no Moor, man. If you was around the Moors back then, man, you would have just been one of them niggas cleaning up all the shit out of the toilets. That would have been your title. You would have been the shit guy, the guy who cleans up all the shit. No bullshit. But Derrick Jones Talks Live, man. That's it, guys. I just wanted to come tell y'all what happened to me this morning. Hope I sparked somebody. And also to let you know that Masons are Moors and Masons are builders, and so are the Moors. All of our people are Mason, but not Mason like that thing. And then even that thing that they talk about that's why I don't even, y'all see why I don't talk about that stupid shit? Like, as far as, see, the Rosicrucian Masons are like, I've done that stupid ass shit, man. Like, all that information, whatever they're doing, nigga, all that shit is a group of people coming together clandestinely to have shit go just their way. I don't give a fuck if they call themselves Masons, Bloods, Cribs, Vice Lords. I don't give a fuck what you call yourself, nigga. If you're coming together doing that shit and you're being evil, then you're being evil. The fuck out of here. Like, get the hell out of here. When did that word Mason become evil? Like, I don't understand that shit. Just like a nigga told me a Muslim is evil. Now Muslims is evil. So I'm like, okay, now you tell me I gotta watch out for the Masons because they evil. Now if you a Muslim, you evil. Now if you did, like, come on, man, who's all this? So where are the non-evil people at? Yeah, man, it's so many different shots, yo. Yo, shots. That's the whole thing I be trying to tell these niggas, man. If masonry is evil, then a gun is evil. If being a Muslim is evil, then a gun is evil, not the way it's used. So I don't care if you pick that gun up and you stop 3 charging fucking tigers from devouring your family, nigga, and you shot that gun 6 times and hit 3 of them twice and killed them. No, you did an evil act with a piece of evil. Would you be looking at it like that? No, you wouldn't be looking at it like that. That's why I said, man, to have to explain that shit to a nigga lets me know that you a fucking simpleton. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. Like, that's why I say I'm not even going to say his name because he flagged one of my videos. YouTube sent me some shit the other day. Because he's mad because, and you want to know the video he flagged, Mr. He Don't Flag and talking shit. He flagged a video with me showing his European teacher. Nigga, you subscribe to the dude, and the dude is a European man, and the man talks about the same shit you be talking about. The Eagle tribe and the Anunnaki and all that shit. Same shit you talk about. Because just like I told you, nigga, you go on these people's motherfucking joints, watch their videos. After you watch the video, you sit up and do a live stream off of what you just watched. You think I'm stupid and you think I don't know that, and you be mad as fuck that I catch you. That's why you say shit like, oh, Shane TV's lame, or he's gay, or he's doesn't have a mustache, or like something weird, something that has nothing to do with what we talking about. That's why you get mad, because I get you every time and you know that's what you do. I keep telling you, nigga, you could hear by the way that I was just talking about what I was just talking about, right? That, nigga, I was doing this shit for real for nearly a decade or more. I was very into studying, nigga. So that's why I know when I hear fake niggas. You want to know another way I hear fake niggas? All these niggas who keep reciting specific books that they read. Dog, I could barely tell you a smidgen of the books I read. I can't tell you all the books I read. I don't even have them. I don't keep them. I was reading the shit. I told you I do this shit different than you do. I do it for the information. Once the information goes in my head, I could really care less about anything else. Until thank you, they stayed tricking us until I had to realize that, nigga, I was getting tricked from some of the books I was reading. That's why I still say to this day, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. And if you want to hide something and trick a black man, put it in a book. One day, man, one day they're going to get it, y'all. It just might not be today. Derrick Jones Talks Live, man. Peace.